Welcome in adjunct professor at Montclair State University, Dan Geltrude. Dan, okay, so Powell told lawmakers he does not expect a recession, saying the economy should continue to grow this year. Now, the Fed is not expecting to hike interest rates, according to Powell, but the American people want to know, when are we going to get to that 2% rate?
Well, no one really knows whether we're going to get to 2% and if we'll ever get to 2%. And keep in mind, Alex, that when we're talking about 2%, it's not like we're saying, well, prices are going to go back to where they were 3 years ago. We're just saying that the annual increase of inflation won't be as high as it used to be. Cumulative inflation stays in place. So it's really hard to say what's going to happen going forward this year.
Yeah, definitely. So here's a story I'm actually very happy to hear about. So California Republicans now demanding an investigation into the connection between state governor Gavin Newsom and longtime donor Greg Flynn. Now, this comes after his company qualified for a oddly specific exemption to the state's incoming $20 an hour minimum wage. So Flynn's business, which owns dozens of Panera Bread franchises, will be allowed to continue just paying the state's current rate, $16, due to an immunity for restaurants serving bread as a standalone item. And they had to have been serving that bread prior to September of last year. So you can't just start baking it now. Dan, do you think this is going to go anywhere?
I really don't. And the reason I say that is because in California, it's one-party rule. So the Republicans, although they could bring the issue to light, I don't know really if they're ever going to be able to get anywhere. Now, listen, Greg Flynn has denied involvement in this whole thing, but the optics are so bad. Here's a really rich guy, and yet he doesn't want to pay $20 an hour, presumably because it's too much.
Yeah, no involvement, really. You gave Governor Gavin Newsom hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's just be real. Okay, bad news for everyone. Several airlines upping their baggage fees. Major airlines, including Delta, United, JetBlue, American, Alaska, hiking prices between $5 to $10, with Southwest holding out on this policy as of now. And in 2022, airlines made nearly $7 billion just on baggage fees alone. And the fees aren't subject to the 7.5% federal tax airlines usually have to pay. All right, Dan, in some cases, the baggage fee is catching up to the price of the actual tickets. Do you expect these prices just to continue to rise?
Absolutely. Look, the key thing you said there is that the airlines are getting the benefit of these fees tax-free. So why not continue to raise the charges on baggage as opposed to increasing the ticket price? So I expect this to keep going. And look, my rule of thumb here is carry on everything I possibly can and don't check in any baggage. If there's something I need, I'll buy it when I get to my destination.
I know, Dan, but usually when I'm flying home from Georgia with all of my Christmas presents, I swear you go a pound over and all of a sudden they're like, give me $100. It is absolutely unreal. Dan Geltrude, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It is always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Alex.